are pleased to welcome on set today Melanie Monaco, who is the director of the Keep Plymouth Beautiful campaign, which is part of Keep Massachusetts Beautiful campaign, correct? Welcome, Melanie.
Thank you.
We have a lot to talk about.
Yes.
So what is the main objective of Keep Plymouth Beautiful?
So right now we're focusing on reducing waste from single-use products, and my focus is on prevention mainly at the moment, to prevent litter by compelling people to change their ways and think more sustainably and not use so many disposable products in the first place.
Okay, now is this at home and out in the community?
Everywhere,
okay.
But right now I have the Please Ask campaign where I'm focusing mainly on restaurants currently.
Okay, so please ask what?
Please ask, would you like a straw? Would you like cutlery? Would you like a receipt? Would you like a bag?
Okay, so in other words, that shouldn't just automatically be given to you when you go to a restaurant. You should get the option of saying, no, I don't need that.
Exactly,
okay.
Because we as consumers don't necessarily think to mention that we don't need it even when we don't.
Okay, so a lot of people go out to eat at restaurants and then they get their food to go because they didn't finish it.
Right.
And you always get it in plastic or in styrofoam.
Right.
Okay. What are the options of not getting it in plastic or in styrofoam?
We can bring our own container now.
Okay.
So if you bring your own plant-based container, your wheat-based, your bamboo, glass,
yep.
metal, they can actually take it over the counter now as long as it's clean
yep.
and undamaged, and they can put your takeout in it.
Yep.
Or if you're at a restaurant and you bring it in your bag, like I do when I
yep.
go out for brunch, I bring a little container in my bag, and I just take out my container and put my food in it, and that saves on styrofoam and
right. And I've noticed a lot of restaurants do that now. Is they'll bring the takeout container to your table and you fill it yourself.
Exactly.
So you're saying just take one out of your purse or your whatever you bring and use your own that's reusable.
Bring a bigger bag.
And bring a bigger bag. Okay. Now there's other things that I know the huge initiative is to get rid of the use of plastic straws.
Yes.
So talk about that.
Well, a lot of times we don't need them. We don't use them at home when we drink at home. We just don't need
right.
them. So if we don't have a lid, we don't need a straw,
yep.
first of all, for most things. And so if we just don't have the lid or the straw, we save 2 pieces of plastic.
Yep.
Neither of those are recyclable. So it's just being wasted, and even when we dispose of them properly, which most of us do, animals get at the trash, the wind
yeah.
can take them out of the trash, and they end up in the ocean or they end up in the ground where they leach chemicals into the environment. So we just don't need them, but when we do, certain instances we do, like a smoothie, or if we have ice in our glass, we can bring our own.
Right.
And we just need to start thinking about, BYO everything. Just bring
right.
your own straw and carry a little pouch. And
yeah, and we'll show what you have here.
Yeah.
So you put this together yourself. And
yes.
if you bought a smoothie somewhere,
right.
Here's your straw, and it's bamboo.
This one's
a
bamboo.
straw
yeah,
that
nice
you can use for your
big
smoothie.
Bamboo straw.
If you, this is a regular straw.
Just a regular
metal
straw.
You can use for
the
anything.
little silicone
yep.
topper comes off.
Yep. And then you have reusable flatware. It's not really flatware. It's reusable.
Yes, it's cutlery, and
yep.
that is plant-based, plant byproduct based.
And
yes.
you can use these 100 times. Just
yes,
wash
you
them.
just wash them.
Just wash them and reuse them.
Right, and they make these in bamboo. You can even just use your regular kitchen silverware.
Yes, you
yeah.
just bring it with you.
You just bring it with you.
So
just
again,
put it in a little cutlery pouch.
You carry this little sustainable thing with you wherever you go,
yes.
so that you don't have to utilize straws and lids and plastic things that
right.
will end up in our trash. And it goes to the whole reduce, reuse, recycle
exactly.
campaign that we're trying to get through to everybody. What are the objections that people and or restaurants have to this type of thing?
So it's not really. They don't really have objections. They're usually surprised and shocked because it just hasn't really caught on. So they usually laugh a little bit. They think it's funny when you say, I don't need a straw. They're like, oh, trying to save the turtles? I'm like, yes,
yeah.
turtles, whales, humans. Don't forget about the humans. So it's just a shock factor.
Yeah.
They really don't oppose this. I think it's just that we're not mindful. So the consumers aren't necessarily thinking to say, I don't need cutlery, please, no straw, please.
Right.
And so the restaurants, they're busy, they're running around, they might not think to ask. So I'm just trying to get people to think about it. Just say, would you like a straw? Would you like cutlery? Because they can save money if they ask and the consumer doesn't need it because they're going straight home or they brought their own cutlery with them or their own straw with them.
Yep. Now, restaurants, when you get food to go or if you have it delivered, it's unless you've delivered from like a Chinese restaurant, it's almost always in styrofoam or plastic. What can we do about that?
So there are products already on the market. There are sugarcane byproduct containers, there's hemp containers, there's corn stalk containers. There are products on the market right now. There are companies that are selling them. It just hasn't caught on enough that the price is reasonable. It's not competitive prices.
And you have to understand that from a restaurant owner's point of view, where their profit margin is usually quite small anyway. Anywhere they can save money, they're going to, and I understand that. So we have to push, I would think, maybe even legislatively, to have a tax break for restaurants that utilize this type of materials.
That's a great idea. I hope
that would be wonderful
if we
could. That would give them that's the offset of a little bit more money to spend on these reusable products or sustainable products. Can offset maybe with what they have to pay in taxes, which would be great. It's a win-win. Everybody wins. So now you got into this with a group of people that you hang out with that have the like mind. Talk a little bit about how you got into this.
So we call ourselves the Earth Keepers, and it's just a group of people, South Shore people, multi-generational group that we meet in Pembroke periodically and just talk about options and sustainability and what we can do differently, small changes that we can make. So everybody can do something, and it's just a matter of finding what it is, what your calling is, what your niche is, finding your way, what you can focus on. And what we were talking about was the local coffee shops not taking our reusable mugs is really what started this whole Please Ask campaign.
Yes.
And so I said, well, I can go into the Board of Health and I can talk to them and find out why that is, because there must be a reason.
You're saying they couldn't take this.
They couldn't. They said that it was a Board of Health regulation.
I can't give you my cup and say fill this up with
coffee. They weren't allowed to take it over the counter. They said it was a Board of Health regulation, which baffled me because when you go into a restaurant and you get your coffee refilled, they pour coffee in your mug that you've already drank out of all the time at a restaurant. So why is it any different? So I asked, why is it any different? And Dr. Nate clarified that they really can. They can take your clean, undamaged, reusable mug, and that it was just a misunderstanding of an FDA regulation. And so he issued guidance clarifying that. So that's what started the campaign, was just talking with my friends and saying, what can you do? What can we do? And my idea was, I'm going to go talk to the Board of Health and I'm going to find out why this is and if it can change and if it can be clarified. And so it has been. The Board of Health in Plymouth is excellent.
Yeah, they're wonderful. Now, how do we start our young people? How do we start right from when we start educating our kids in schools how important this is? Is there any kind of curriculum? Is there any talk about let's get the kids when they're really young to get into these sustainable habits?
I wish we were doing it more here, and I don't think we are as much here as it's being done in the West Coast. The Ocean Conservancy is great. They have great resources for teaching children. So
and they're in the West Coast?
I believe they're on the West Coast, but they have helped me personally. They've given me 200 Skip the Straw decals. They're great to work with. They work with Coast Sweep and do cleanups, and they're just a great organization. So it's called the Ocean Conservancy, and they have tons of information about teaching young people. They have coloring papers and.
So it's habits. A lot of this is just the habits that you get into. Oh, it's easy to just pick up the straw, use it, and then throw it away. If you don't have it, you're not going to use it, number one. So don't buy it, right? Have your metal straw available at all times, right? What about day to day? What can everybody do aside from this? Thinking. How do we change our thinking? Do we start with our shopping list?
Yeah. So the BYO everything. First of all, your shopping bags.
Absolutely.
Saying I don't need a receipt. You know, just little things. just thinking, will this impact the environment negatively? Right. Every single thing that we consider purchasing, go to the thrift shop and buy your clothes.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to do all of that, but there are little things
tiny
that
steps.
we can do. Tiny
Everybody
steps.
can make tiny steps.
Just think about, how will this impact the environment? Is this a positive impact or a negative impact?
Right.
With what we purchase, especially packaging with food, a lot of that is not recyclable.
Yeah, which is kind of depressing.
And we can
we
write
try
letters
at home.
about
We try to
this.
recycle everything,
Right.
and there's a lot of stuff that they just say you can't do it, which is it's too bad. And I'm sure, again, to me that's legislation. If we can give these big companies that make the packaging some kind of a impetus to make recyclable packaging and get some kind of a break, again, everybody wins. Everybody
Also
wins.
consumer pressure.
Yeah, that's true.
Pressure from consumers.
Yeah.
If we start writing letters to the people we buy our granola bars from and our, anything that whatever we partake in personally, that's where we should start addressing those corporations and asking them to make more sustainable choices.
That's a great idea. Now, do you have a website? Or a Facebook page?
I have a Facebook page for Keep Plymouth Beautiful.
Okay.
And I'm working on a website right now.
Okay. And what is your 1 to 3 year goal?
Oh, to save the world.
She's going to save the world.
So I'm going to speak with every restaurant here in Plymouth and just hopefully compel them to think a little bit differently. Have lots of skip the straw decals on windows so that people can start thinking of this, and just compel people to think a little bit differently. And I don't have a strategic plan yet. We're really that new. So it's kind of unfolding.
You're going to get one though.
It's unfolding for me.
And do you need volunteers to help?
I do need volunteers. And I have an email that's keepplymouthbeautiful@gmail.com. I would love for volunteers to reach out to me.
Great.
I do need volunteers.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. This initiative is wonderful. We appreciate this. And again, it all starts with just think. Think before you do something. Just take that 1 second to think, do I need to do this?
Exactly.
Is there a better way?
Think differently.
Thank you. We thank Melanie Monaco, who is the director of Keep Plymouth Beautiful, a division of Keep Massachusetts Beautiful. And I'm sure we'll have a follow-up to what you're doing in the future.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.